If I had a nickel for every time that a WRC debut winner in 2026 won their second rally back-to-back, you could fill in the rest, can't you? Hey there folks, and welcome to my review of Sector Rally Finland, the 75th anniversary edition of Rally Finland, and yes, Sami Päiri does the double. Sami Päiri and Marko Salminen are now two-time WRC winners in consecutive events, like Taka Katsuta, who won in the Safari Rally and then Croatia, and much like that as well, it was a thing of keeping it clean, whilst one of the favourites had some chaotic exits towards the end. Let's start off by talking about Toyota as well, because Päiri was the only person out of the Toyota stable that managed to keep themselves or their car out of trouble. Seb Ogier and Julien Ingrassia, it would have been a fairy tale win, especially on a rally that neither of them have been particularly fond of over the years, but that frightening crash. It's glad to hear both of them got out of the car unaided. Ogier was airlifted to hospital, whilst Ingrassia took an ambulance. Just hope for the best for the both of them and speedy recovery. They were the only Toyota drivers to be wounded after the rally. Oliver Solberg, second place, ended up not even on the podium at the end of the power stage because he was seeking medical attention because of an injury that he'd picked up in the first run of the power stage this morning. Elfyn Evans removed the back of his car in a crash yesterday morning. Funnily enough, one of the first people in the scene, his father, asking him where the rope was to pull the car out. He was like, we don't need the rope for this event, but it turned out they'd gotten stuck in a marshy piece of land because of the rain on Friday. And then Taka Katsuta, crashing on the power stage, still manages to make it home, drops to 6th, 25 seconds off of Thierry Neuville in 5th. But yeah, for Päiri and Salminen, they kept the car clean. They didn't make any big mistakes, they made the most of the opportunities. Like I said, with Katsuta and Croatia, just dependable, consistent, and managed to bring it home. And much like with Katsuta's first win in Kenya, Estonia was a good one for Päiri anyway, so they've both had a similar kind of profile which has a big impact on the championship standings. And it's not whilst taking like absolute domination either. Oliver Solberg ends up with sweeps of the Super Sunday and Power Stage. So in terms of the points hauls for Solberg, those 2 second places with the bonus points to go with it were exactly what was needed. But let's talk Hyundai and poor Esa-Pekka Lappi and Eddie Malkonen. We don't know who Hyundai are going to be running for the final 4 rounds of the season. It could be a mix of the 3 drivers that they've had already. There's been rumours that Patton might get one of the Latin American ones, and also rumours that whoever gets one will also get the other. So we could see Patton get those 2, and then Sordo end up with Sardinia, and I don't know, EP going off to Saudi Arabia if that happens. But this could be the last time that we see them in a Rally 1 car. And it's a shame that they were out so early on Friday with roll cage damage, because they deserved a better kind of send-off for that rally if it is their last WRC Rally 1 start, at least for this season. Yeah, the other Hyundais, well, Thierry Neuville made a mistake, but managed to limp it back to service. Picked up a 20-second time penalty for his troubles, but he was more or less going to be round where 5th was without his and Katsuta's incidents anyways. So there's not been much of a change for the driver who used to run the number 5 before he was a world champion. And then Adrien Fourmeau. Fourmeau was hands down the best Hyundai driver this weekend. Fourmeau is one of those ones who is so often and nearly there. I can think of so many drivers who have similar reputations in the WRC. Danny Sordo did for the longest time until he won a rally. Andreas Mikkelsen did until he won a couple of rallies. If you go back a bit further, some of the people that stand out to me are the likes of Francois Duval, especially 4 years Francois Duval. Or Marco Martin, who did end up going on to win several rallies in his career. But for Fourmeau, the piece of bad luck was the rain on Friday afternoon. Because it hit going into a stage where the front runners had already gone through, how much time did he lose? I'm trying to remember how much time he actually lost in that one stage. Because he was 5.3 seconds off the lead after stage 5. He was 5.8 off at stage 6. And then by the end of stage 7, yeah, he lost a minute and a half to Ogier. He lost a minute and a half to Pyrie. And given that the gap at the end of the rally was 1 minute 35 seconds, you could safely say that he would have been in the hunt for the win had it not been for that bad luck. But it reminds me of Sweden 24. I think it was 24. It might have even been 23. The one where the snow came in so heavily that we ended up with, I think it was Jörg Linnemar, wasn't it? Ended up picking up stage wins in the KFC-sponsored JWRC Rally 2. So that means it should be 24. Yeah, it reminded me of something like that torrential downpour. Or heck, Ogier in the power stage in Paraguay last year. Yeah, Formo, that first win is coming. When? I don't know, but we can say for certain it is. And then we have M Sport. 2 high-speed exits to M Sport. Thankfully, both cars are able to get repaired. Sesk's in record time. And the third car, Josh McAlean, he kept on the road. Yeah, he very nearly passed Katsuta after Katsuta's off in the power stage. Yeah, he was 4.5 minutes off the win, but that Puma is massively underdeveloped, especially compared to the Toyota. You could compare it to the Hyundai as well, but Hyundai had the whole thing with the development direction go the wrong way last year. He did what he needed to do, kept on the road, got the miles in. John Armstrong was unlucky with his off, and same for Martin Sesks. They all showed good pace at different points. They all showed stage winning pace at different points as well, and fastest sector times. Just hoping for a more even playing field next year. We'll talk about that in another video when we talk about the new promoter. The top 10 was rounded out by Rally 2 cars, with P8 going to somebody who wasn't entered for WRC2. They had been in the past, but this time Jari-Matti Latvala and Juho Hänninen decided not to enter to score points. They didn't want to take out of somebody's title battle, which, that was a good call. They won by 21.4 seconds, which is not surprising in the slightest. You have a look at what Latvala was doing last year, battling with Solberg. You have a look at what he's been able to do in previous editions of Finland as well. He is a Rally Finland winner, after all, at the top level. It's hardly surprising he's still able to be competitive. But the chasing pack were also absolutely rapid. Also, a 30-second penalty for Teemu Syrjinen that ended up costing him the win. He ends up, 16 seconds off of Robert Vervej, who ends up with 4 wins from 4. Now, with a maximum of 7 entries, the best 6 of which count towards JWRC2, does he just do the next 3, just in case Saudi Arabia gets cancelled? And then if he wins 1, he's pretty much guaranteed the championship. I'll talk championship standings in a bit. But Vervej has been massively impressive. He needs to be in a top flight drive as soon as possible. But yeah, well done to Latvala and Hänninen. That was a great run by them. And the podium in Rally 2 was rounded out, like I said, by Sylinen and Jani Husi, but they were second in the WRC2. Third place in WRC2, Lauri Juna and Lina Kato. Well done to Juna, who had a fast-charging Estonian right behind, Jasper Vaar. Jasper Vaar is what people have been saying about the likes of someone like Tuukka Koppanen as well, who, unfortunately, I think crashed out. Tuukka Koppanen and I think also Rupa Korhonen, who were both seen as people who could be in form here in Finland, both off the road on Saturday as well, I think, which, for Rautio Motorsport, very expensive day. But Jasper Vaar is somebody who will be at that same kind of level probably next year. I mean, you look at the fact that he's scrapping away with Robbie Jurgensen. Robbie Jurgensen, 5th in WRC2, 6th in Rally 2. Well done to Robbie Jurgensen for that, whilst Nikolai Graj and Johan Russell were 7th and 9th, or 6th and 8th in the WRC2, but they weren't scoring points for themselves, they were already scoring points for Lancia. Research project. And for a research project being, a minute off the win? That's good. The C3s were capable on gravel, but fast gravel was never really a Stellantis strong suit, especially when you see how the Fabia and the Aris have developed in recent years. Between the two of them was Mille Johansson, whilst the top 10 in Rally 2 was rounded out by Giovanni Trunten, and for the WRC2 in terms of drivers' points as well. I think, is it Leo Russell, Takumi Matsushita, and then Taylor Gill? Poor Taylor Gill, who gets a 50-second time penalty, but it still would have given him that 10th place in WRC 2. Yeah, I think that's how that works out. In comparison for Rally 3, it was down to the wire. 6 seconds separating the top 4 Rally 3 cars. WRC 3 and JWRC on this occasion go to Gil Membrado, the young Spaniard taking the JWRC and the Rally 3 honours on the final stage from Levi Lasseler, who was entered for the juniors but not for WRC 3. 2 seconds the gap at the end of it. Lasseler has been so competitive in these kinds of rallies, but Membrado is showing that same kind of potential that I've just spoken about with Jasper Vahr. Second place in WRC 3 goes the way of Matteo Fontana, 4.7 off the win. Fontana, who was the person who won 2 stages outright in Rally Monte Carlo earlier this year. Again, somebody who is more than capable and needs to make that step up sooner rather than later to Rally 2 machinery. Timek Abramovsky rounds out the WRC 3 even podium, because he's 4th in the Rally 3 class, 5.8 off the win, and 1.1 off of Fontana. And Abramovsky has been competitive. I think he's run Clios as well in the past, but here he is in the Fiesta, performing incredibly strongly. Jarko Nakara was the 4th place in WRC 3 and the lead Clio in 6th in the Rally 3 cars. Behind him, rounding out the podium for JWRC, Kalle Karlberg. Kalle Karlberg, another one of those ones, like Emilia Hansen, like Gil Membrado, Levi Lasseler, Matteo Fontana, and like I said, with the graduates to Rally 2 like Jasper Vahr or Tuukka Kolpanen. The future of rallying is bright at the moment. We have so many phenomenal talents who are just one step away. Let's see what they can do. This is by no disrespect to anybody else who got to the end of the rally in the JWRC, WRC3 or Rally 3 cars outright. No disrespect to, like Karim Kazaz or Villa Pinonen or Ali Turkan. These are just the people who are absolute standouts. And from there, let's talk standings, because I've been talking for nearly 15 minutes at this point. Elfyn Evans leads on 201 points from Sami Pyri in second now. 171, 30 points the gap. Pyri could chip away at that. It's potentially 10 points of rally if we don't get Saudi, or 8 points of rally if we do have Saudi. He absolutely could do that, given that if you compare his and Evans' hauls here, he came out of it with 27 points, and Evans came out of it with quite an impressive 24 at the end of it. But when you look at Estonia, he outscored Evans. Evans came out of it with 15 points, Pyri 28. In the Acropolis, Pyri came out of it with 20, Evans came out of it with 11. There is absolutely a title battle here, and Katsuta's on 160 in third, Oliver Solberg on 156 in fourth, Seb Ogier stays in fifth on 139, whilst Formo on 129 gets ahead of Nerville on 125. The gap back to 8th is Pekka Lappi, who's on 25 points. The best way that I would describe it, and I was speaking to my brother who's been following WRC on the periphery but loves rallying and watched all the season reviews with me growing up. Elfyn Evans is doing a Richard Burns 2001. Just relentless consistency. Sami Pyri is doing a Marcus Grönholm 2000. Grönholm won his first rally, Rally Sweden 2000, went on to win the title. Oliver Solberg is trying to be like his dad in 03, who just came back absolutely when he needed to and was rapid fast. Ogier is doing something that is a bit of a kind of... best way to describe it is something like Loeb, 08-09, when he was battling against Hirvonen for the title. And that one went down to the wire. Just a few different mistakes here and there and a couple of pieces of bad fortune. And then Katsuta. It's really hard to find a kind of profile to put Katsuta's championship bid into, especially out of more recent world champions. Because he's had some points where it's been absolutely rotten luck. He's had some points where things have been going absolutely swimmingly. He got his first win and he got his second win, one that was inherited just by being much like with Pyrie, fast enough, but also clean enough compared to his rivals. So it adds to the postcard for that one, I guess. Just let me know what you reckon the Takakatsuta Championship bid is a bit like. When it comes to the manufacturers, it is Toyota all the way, and some permutations mean technically they could win and be the first world champions crowned in Paraguay. They could also be the first, I think, crowned in Chile, potentially, though I think wasn't... No, Pyrie was crowned in Japan, but it was basically a formality. They're on 514. Hyundai's on 340. Toyota Team 2 is 184, and it's 130 for M Sport. In WRC2, like I said, it is 4 wins from 4 for Robert Vervej on 100 points. Verupa Korhonen is still second in the standings on 79 points, but has done 6 out of the 7 rallies, and the drop score is 0. So the maximum that Verupa Korhonen can get now is 104 points. Robert Vervej then just needs to basically show up to an event, because you get, what, 8th or better, you win on countback by default. Teemu Sundinen is now actually pretty much the closest challenger. He's dropped, what, 24 points in theory because of 3 second places, 2 of which to Robert Vervej. So he is arguably the closest challenger now, especially when you look further down the order and you see that Leo Rossell in 4th place has also been scored, what, 5 times. Alejandro Cachon, 5 entries. Nikolai Gryajan, 4, but is on 56 points to Vervej's 100. Johan Rossell has, I think, 1 more score to his name, but also 4 less points. Mikkelsen says that his bid is done. Yeah. It is Vervej versus Sundinen. And whilst it would be impressive to see Sundinen win the ERC and WRC2 in the same year, because he is absolutely the favourite for the ERC now as well, I want to see this kind of absolute domination that we're seeing for Vervej. That looks like something out of a video game. In the teams, by the way, for the WRC2, it is currently Talksport on 235 from Lancia on 195. WRC3 is still going the way of Matteo Fontana, though Gil Membrado has closed the gap a little bit now. It's 117 to 91. And for Fontana, that is 6 scores. For Membrado, that is 5. So, round in hand, it is technically kind of neck and neck. I think the same for Abramovsky when you look at it. Abramovsky's got 5 scores and is on the same amount of points as Membrado now. Nicolas Otto on 56 in 4th is, I think, probably more or less out for the count in that kind of place. When it comes to the JWRC, it's a lot closer because you get the stage points bonuses for all of your stage wins as well. And I don't think I see it tallied up at the moment. So if I go through the stage wins then for the WRC, for the junior WRC, I think that it actually swings a little bit back towards Kalle Karlberg, because Kalle Karlberg ends up with 6 stage wins to 1 for Membrado, and then you've got 2 for Levi Lassler, and the remainder between 1 for Karim Kazaz and the rest for Ali Turkan, I think. So what that would mean is in the juniors, Kalle Karlberg continues to have a strong advantage. I think it would be something like 97 points. Gil Membrado would be on 70 points, and Ali Turkan would be close to 90 points. So it looks like Membrado might get the WRC3 without getting the juniors, and Kalle Karlberg could pick up that junior prize. Either way, folks, that's that for this video. I've talked about Rally Finland for way longer than I expected to, but the Gravel Grand Prix was brilliant. It had all kinds of drama, it had all kinds of action, and the title battle is heating up in all 3 categories, all 4 categories even. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, but as always, until next time, bye for now.